Let's move forward. We had Hasan Adnan Ahmed. हम वापस हसन को स्टेज पे बुलाते हैं. So ladies and gentlemen, this is something very interesting and amazing. PSTD brought in an amazing initiative and a tool, and that is available at PSTD stall for you. Maybe Hasan can shed more light on what is that tool and how it can help you. So over to Hasan Adnan Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. So I'm here to share and introduce Transform X. What is it? वो हम बात करेंगे. I will, however, talk about the evolution of learning first, because we all have experienced learning, how it is shaped up in the corporate world over the last many decades. So let's understand how learning was taking place and how it is evolving in the future. So, how many of you attended one week long off-site classroom training away from your offices? Show of hands. How many of you have been to 2 weeks or longer training as well? Some of us. Has anyone gone to 4 weeks or longer training program anywhere? Yeah, I see a couple of hands there. So we used to do that. I was heading learning leadership talent for BAT in the global headquarters in London for 160 markets, 60,000 people, and we had a global learning center in Horsley. So during that time, I was responsible for that, and we used to bring in lots of people, like 1,200, 1,300 leaders into those training programs and typically keep them there for 1 week, 2 weeks, and we would have the professors from NCR, IMD, a lot of business schools from the US as well, and we used to conduct those training programs. We used to develop the learning curriculums, and I'm sure some of you can relate to that as well. We used to develop learning curriculums from our management, taking our people right up to the management board level, assuming that that content or the curriculum would stay valid for at least 3 years. Now, that was the era where learning was very structured, but it was taking a very long time. Another example, I have experienced because I've been the HR director in multiple markets and a couple of companies here in Pakistan as well. When we used to develop IDPs for our people and starting with the TNA, linking it with the strategy of the business, it used to take a very long time. And very often, we would end up spending 6 months of the year finalizing IDPs before we actually start delivering the training as well. Do some of you relate to that scenario as well? Yeah? Okay. So now, this learning is evolving. It's becoming more adaptive, right? So it is based on the role, on the performance level. It is being embedded into your workplace. It is micro, modular, instantly whenever it is needed. And it is more personalized as well. So that's the evolution that we are looking at. So no more the luxury of sending people away for very long programs. It has its own value even today, but the companies can't afford it. And then the other challenge is you could do that with a very small percentage within your organization. Whereas now, the pace of change that we have been talking about since morning, it is an era where skills expire faster than ever. So you can't wait for the program to come in 6 months' time and then take people through it. So that's the evolution that we are looking at. You would all remember a few years, almost 5 years ago, there was time when training calendars were all set, trainers were lined up, classrooms were all set, and all of a sudden COVID hit us. And when it hit us, everything kind of came to a halt, right? Classrooms or the training rooms went dark, trainers went silent, and all the calendars got upset, right? So we couldn't deliver. But learning did not stop. It evolved. And something magical happened. Do you know 1.6 billion learners went online instantly when COVID hit us? 1.6 billion. So the service providers, they scaled up. The companies adapted. I was heading HR in Coke at that time, Coca-Cola CCI, and we immediately started moving into digital platforms and virtual learning as well. Now, that kind of had a global reset where the classroom did not die or fade away, but the classroom got expanded. It opened avenues and accelerated the digital adoption that we were already on a journey for, but it got accelerated with COVID coming in. We are at an intersection today, intersection of human curiosity and intelligent technology. Ali, in his opening today in the morning, talked about it as well, that how we're focusing on the technology and how important it is to integrate with the human element. So this human curiosity and intelligent technology is helping us evolve or bring in the evolution of learning, where learning will not be an event, it will be an experience. Learning will not be just a course, it will be a culture. Learning will not be measured through happy sheets, it will be measured through performance level. And the list goes on. Why this evolution is important and why it is important for all of us to embrace this new ways of learning because of the speed of change. We've been talking about AI. So the speed of change has been increasing ever since I joined the corporate 25 years ago. But now what has happened in the last 1 year or 18 months, we all have experience with AI. The adoption is much faster. The change has become more exponential. And I give one example often. The big joint companies like Nike, like Harley Davidson, they took many decades to get to $1 billion revenue mark in their own, company cycle. Then the technology companies came. Those technology companies reached that $1 billion target within 3 to 7 years' time as well. With AI, I was reading the other day, OpenAI, in 3 years' time, they reported $10 billion revenue in the last 3 years. And even more astonishing was where this company is valued now. It's today valued at $500 billion revenue. It was $500 billion. So that's the pace of change we are talking about. However, when we look at it, all this evolutions, companies stepping onto this new ways of learning, still many companies are finding that there are performance gaps. There is a capability gap. And it could be because of number of reasons, but one element, again, in the morning it was mentioned, at times there is too much focus on technology and maybe not so much on people. So AI could be there. Where's the people or human motivation? The data may not be streamlined. Again, in the last session where INSEAD professor was talking about he was talking about the different executive roles, and it is so important where the AI ambition is set. Also, we have our systems and data streamlined, and then the human element as well, because all three has to go in line. Learning could be there, but then that learning may not be followed up. We talk about 70-20-10. You could have 70%, but if there are no right capabilities in the organization, how would you bring that 70% impact in the organization? So a lot of these elements have to come together. Now, in this evolution of learning, we all need to move towards embracing this human curiosity and intelligent technology. And PSTD has invested into an intelligent technology platform, learning platform, which does this, which will help you and your organization embrace the new ways of learning. So let's play the video and let's play the video from the beginning, please, and let's look at what does this platform called TransformX can do for us. So the video you have seen is actually into the platform, TransformX, what it can do. And let me try to decipher it very quickly over the next 3-4 slides, what it does. So TransformX is bridging the performance gap. First key thing that you need to learn is that it looks at your performance. So KPIs, how the company is doing, can be benchmarked against the industry as well. So based on those KPIs, the performance gap is identified. It could also look into the individual performance and the competencies as well. Then it moves into the KSA model, the classic definition of competency, the knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So it brings those gaps into the knowledge, skills, and attitude gaps, and finally into the third stage, then it brings in the recommendations how those gaps could be filled in. But when it brings the recommendation, those recommendations are linked to the performance gaps identified in the first step. So that's what it does. So key performance summary, initial diagnosis that you do, you can identify that. You can link it to the certain roles as well. When you do the KPI benchmarking for your company, you may identify that the gaps you have are linked with some critical roles. So you can actually narrow it down to those critical roles and then develop those roles or individuals sitting on those roles as a priority, and then link it to the knowledge, skills, and attitude, and get the IDPs made. There are 3 paths that you could take. Number 1 path, like I explained, narrow it down to certain roles which are high priority, which will have the biggest impact for the company performance gap to be closed, or a certain tier, and look at the competencies and individual performances as well. Input all of that before you get tailored IDPs for your people. Now it has a competency framework of its own within the system, but it allows that flexibility for the companies to put in the performance management feedback as well as competency feedback into the system as well. Path B is targeted IDPs for any level, for any function. You can go and do it. Again, based on the learning goals, input from the company goes in, and then it gives you IDPs. Those IDPs, like you saw in the video, are defined in terms of knowledge, skills, and attitudes, and in quarterly buckets. So quarter one, you need to do certain things, and then you move into quarter two and build on what actions you have done in the quarter one as well. Finally, the third path, which is more holistic, detailed diagnostic of the organization. If you want to do that, then it can identify the performance gaps of the organization, as well as give very robust inputs into what needs to be improved in the strategy and culture as well. So if you do that, it will give you a very holistic picture of the gaps that exist in the organization and where the learning effort should be focused. So these are the three paths that it can offer. Now, with next steps, there's a stall outside in the exhibition area where you can go and get a demo. And today, if you go and get a demo with a little bit of inputs that you give into that demo, you can actually get some IDPs which will be emailed by the team to you later on. So that's free, of course. You can discuss the needs of the organization with the team there as well. So PSTD team has put in a lot of effort, probably almost a year, if I remember it correctly, and brought it to this stage where now we are introducing it to the wider HR fraternity. So at the end, I would say that learning can't be left to a chance. It has to be strategic, structured, and driven by insights. Only then organizations can create a learning ecosystem that learns, adapts, and evolves faster than change itself. So today the question is not how do we train people, but it is how do we help people learn at the speed of change. Thank you. Do try out the demo and enjoy it and see the system in action. Thank you.
Can you stay on the stage? Thank you. Thank you very much, Hasan. Can you stay on the stage? This is a time where we are going to acknowledge your efforts. So thank you for enabling us to learn, unlearn, and relearn through TransformX. May I request Mr. Adil Riaz, he is the PSTD board member, to join us on the stage to present this memento to Hasan Adnan Ahmed. Mr. Adil Riaz. Thank you. Thank you very much, Hasan Adnan Ahmed. Can we have a round of applause, please, everyone?